Does anyone have a question? You know, you have to always remember how unique the experience of this meditation is for every person that attends the class. And the reason for that is that every person is unique. Every person has their own individuality, their own karma, their own chemistry that is different than every other person. You know, what's the same is we all need energy. We all need love. We need energy. We need Shakti. We have to fill up our tanks because life itself requires so much energy that we have to spend. And that really we all have in common is this hunger for energy so that we can live our lives on a more conscious level. We're not running our lives on tension, on anxiety, on fear. You know, we're running our lives with open hearts, with love, with, grace and balance inside. And, that really is what we all have in common. Other than that, there are no two people that this meditation, can affect exactly the same way. Everybody, it'll flow through everybody, and your life will be creatively different than anybody else's life. And to me, that's a very wonderful thing because that really, heightens the learning curve here because I can learn from each and every one of you. You can learn from each and every one of you, because everybody is a little different and everybody has something amazing to teach because of their uniqueness. So, there's no way that Rudy or I would try to create some sect of people that everybody is, I remember there used to be a group where everybody had turbans and the men walked around with swords in their belt and everybody pretended they were Sikhs, and I never understood it, but that was, I guess, their choice of what they wanted to do with their lives. So what I'm saying basically is be grateful. Don't be intimidated by the difference between oneself and other people. And probably above everything else, don't compete with anyone else because you're never going to win. There's always somebody who can do it better. And to compete with them is foolish because then it becomes ego that's threatened. And it becomes really dangerous in the way people interact and treat each other. There's jealousy, there's insecurity, there's all kinds of nonsense, that keeps people from ever truly communicating to other people. Better to defer, better to be wrong, better to listen and learn, better to keep one's mouth shut and not have to be right in a situation. Better to understand that we're all God's creatures. We all are born here and all of us are a manifestation of God's energy. So there has to be something remarkable in this uniqueness if each and every one of us can be created in a unique way. And I think that is something that, took me time to learn, but I am so grateful that I never treat two people the same because each person is different and requires for me to listen to them in a different way and tune into them in a different way. Does anyone have a question they would like to ask?
Stuart, can you talk about the courage or courage in general and, specifically, I guess, the courage to grow, and open deeper?
Look, it takes guts to step into the unknown. It takes guts to do that every day of your life. It doesn't take any great courage to live a comfortable and satisfied life. It really is the end of, I remember I once told Rudy I wanted to go to India. And he asked me, what are you going to do there? I said, I'll go to an ashram. And he once told me, he said, Stuart, you'll go to an ashram and the only thing that'll grow is your ass. He told me that. He said, and it was true, to sit there in the comfort of a situation and chant and this and that and the other. And, I never went. I did go to India with him. And that was completely a remarkable experience for me. It changed my life. But courage, it takes courage to every day of your life step into the unknown. It takes courage, to say, I have not arrived yet. I need to really do deep work on myself. It takes courage to break down the satisfaction that most people look for in their life, the comfort, the non-threatening existence doesn't take any courage. What takes courage is to live your life a little bit on the edge and to always understand that if you want to connect with spiritual energy, you have to have the guts to step into the unknown. You have to have the guts to go past yourself, beyond yourself, to go outside your comfort zone and try to do in your life things that are more creative, because all creativity exists in the unknown. What we know is the end of our lives. So that takes courage. It takes a lot of courage. The other doesn't take courage. The other is living a kind of satisfied existence. And, it really creates an environment of mediocrity, And there's nothing mediocre in this meditation if you take it deep inside yourself. There's no mediocrity because you have to reach into the unknown. You have to go beyond yourself. You have to open to what's infinite in the universe, not to things that represent comfort and some kind of false security, but what's infinite in the universe. That's God's energy. Now, when you connect with that energy, it gives you the strength to live your life a little bit on the edge. You're no longer afraid to do that. And once you begin to experience what the unknown gives to you in your life, you open and embrace it. You want to change. You want to grow. This takes courage. Living in mediocrity does not take courage. And I know from the time we're little kids, we're taught, get the house in Scarsdale, get the white picket fence, the 2-car garage, the whole dream that is supposed to be the American dream. And I mean, it always disturbed me when I was younger because I thought all of that is like the end of my life. There's nowhere else to go with my life. And initially it created a rebel. I was a rebel with a cause. I was looking to find God, and it made me rebel against all the mediocrity I saw everywhere in my life. And I didn't want to live that way. And it also gave me the guts to find somebody like Rudy and to learn from him, to learn deeply what he had to teach me about opening to God, about opening to the unknown, about not being afraid to step into the unknown. And this is not an easy subject because this, by its very nature, transforms just about everything we're brought up to live with, to find false security. The only security I've ever found in my life is a connection with God. It's the only security I've ever found. Because all the rest of it is all transient. It comes, it goes, it this, it that, it's all transient. And in the process of learning this, you learn how to interact with people. You learn how to love people. You learn how not to condescend, in your relationship with other people, to respect their space. You also learn how not to be trapped in anybody's space, but to create a really profound dialogue between oneself and God. I know this is not an easy subject because it really defies just about everything we're brought up to believe. But we're trying to become one with higher energy. Higher energy is infinite in the universe. There's no limitation there. It's beyond all human comprehension. It takes guts to commit to living a life like that. It doesn't mean you have to give up your job and your families and all. That's not what I'm talking about. What it means, in order to keep your life rich and growing and flowing, you have to stay in touch with the unknown. And you can't accept mediocrity as an answer to spiritual growth or some kind of false comfort zone that doesn't last very long. There's always something that comes along that bugs us. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? You know what I just spoke about probably will test every one of you. I'm not here to disrupt your lives. I'm here to try to help you go deeper so that whatever your life is, it gets a little bit more rich, a little bit deeper, a little more closely connected to God. And it's a step-by-step process. It's like the story of the tortoise and the hare, You got to keep plugging away. You can't rest on your laurels because they really are the end of your life if you accept them as the ultimate reality. So this is difficult and it's not easy for people to digest, but it's part of spiritual growth, connecting oneself to what's infinite in the universe. And then one becomes a child of God, and everything around you is a manifestation of God. And we recognize that every living soul is a child of God, and every person is, in whatever point in their evolution they're at, whether it's being satisfied with their life or not satisfied, being angry, upset, being happy. That's the point where they are in the flow and evolution of their life. And we have to respect that. And we have to really bow to that in other people and not try to make them do what, they're not ready to do. And I'm trying to do that here, I'm not saying take big leaps into the unknown, but little steps to change. Because ultimately, we all have to embrace the unknown. One of my students' sister passed on the other day, And the drama of what went on in their lives over the last 6 months was almost impossible for them both to endure. And the sister passed on, She had Alzheimer's and she passed on. So ultimately, we all have to move on. We all have to enter the unknown. And if life is a product of entering the unknown, giving birth to oneself, in the unknown, growing, finding more creativity, and whatever it is, you could, like to, garden and flowers and this and that, and, cook food and, whatever it is, it gets the more delicious and more creative and a greater blessing to be in your life. Because whatever we do, there's always something deeper involved. There's always something more we can learn. This takes guts, takes courage, and one has to use that courage to change. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay, it's been a very strong class, and I hope you really are taking in, the energy of this class. Even the words are energy. You don't have to listen with your brain. If you open in your heart, you open deep inside, the words are Shakti. They will find a place inside you. I've told you this before. I've sat through, I don't know how many thousands of lectures Rudy gave. I cannot remember one lecture, but everything he ever said is inside me. Because I didn't listen with my brain and I listened with an inner ear. I listened with my soul opening up to receive the energy. It found a place inside me and it comes up whenever I need it. It's always there. Okay, I just want to bug you about this Monday on the 9th. I'm going to be doing this interview with Daniel. And I'm going to send out an email, an invitation early in the morning. And if you have friends that you think are interested in going, you could always email them the invitation. You could always forward it to them. And, it might inspire them to attend this thing. I'm hoping that it truly touches, some new people, to come to class, maybe even read the book, which would be very good. That people read the book. But anyway, I will send out that invitation on Monday morning. And if you'll have a link in the invitation. And if you know people that might be interested, you can pass it on. You can forward it to them. You can even tell them, like this weekend or, that you're going to be sending them that link. And they might, it might inspire them to come and find out what this is all about. Okay, if there are no more questions, then God bless you all and thank you. And have a wonderful evening. And in all humility, I am so grateful to be doing this, to be sitting here with all of you and sharing my life and sharing the things I've learned in my life. So bless you all and have a wonderful evening. And there'll be a class tomorrow. I hope to see everybody there. God bless you. Good night.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you,
Thank you
Stuart.
very much, Stuart.
Thank you, Stuart.